Queenie had a peep over the right shoulder, and she's going to blow them away. But Northerly, Danny Miller, pumping away, and Northerly wins the railway.
Welcome to Racing Rewind. Our panel will review and digest the Prime WA Saturday Thoroughbred meeting from 24 hours earlier. If you have an opinion, send a text to 0427 789 571.
Galaxy Star draws away from them. Pike Magician.
Yes, welcome along to Racing Rewind and welcome along to Richard Bell. How are you, Richie?
I'm in.
Okay, we'll come back to that. We'll welcome along Michael Heaton. Hi, Michael.
I'm going well, Mart.
Okay, Rich.
Yeah.
You are listening to Racing Rewind on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
You're back, Rich.
I'm with you. Little barrier malfunction, but we go again.
Yes, we do. Sheila Gwynne Day out there yesterday. Tell us about it, Michael.
Yes, a lot lighter crowd as expected after the big Quokka Day last Saturday, and a nice result for Sapphire Street. Gee, Oakland Park are having a run at the moment, aren't they? Bustling, and Blue Rocket first and third in last Saturday's Karrakatta Plate. Triple J won yesterday, and then Sapphire Street took out the feature. The filly beat the older mares in the listed feature, and from a track perspective, I thought that closer to the fence was certainly the place to be the first half of the day. I think it perhaps evened out a little bit later on, but those sort of probably lanes 1 to 3 seemed to be the place to be, and I think a win like Triple J's was probably a little bit better than what it initially appeared.
Looks like a quiet day from the steward's room.
Yeah, Holly Watson and Alan Kennedy were both off their rides unwell, but outside of that, there was not a huge amount to be spoken of, except for Barney's World, who went around a drifting favourite, was about $1.90 at a 260, ran last, but pulled up lame.
There were some disappointing runs by favourites throughout the day, Richard.
Oh, definitely. Early on we got Siren Assault beaten at $1.55, finishing third, backing up out of the Karrakatta. Then Star Power went down, and I thought it was a little bit of a suspect favourite anyway, but it was $2.90, and then Barney's World, which we just mentioned, finishing last, and Milkar Pindari getting beaten in race 4, although was a very big drifter and money did come for Triple J.
Yeah, Milkar Pindari was probably the biggest flop of the day without any excuses that it appeared.
Okay. All right, well, let's launch into race number 1. It was the Seacourt Plate over the 1,100 metres.
Out Swagger at the 450 nearing the turn, and Champagne Cathay was able to burn through and drew a length and a half. Battle Commander being hunted along on the rails to Gold Flakes. Back in behind them came Earl It Is, the favourite 4 lengths from them, and being tested here as they come to the 250, getting right up on the inside. Gold Flakes goes to the lead. Gold Flakes a length and a half. The favourite down the outside, Siren Assault, but Gold Flakes is holding Siren Assault. Rainline starting to get clear off the inside and coming late, but it'll be just too late. And Gold Flakes in an upset here in the first over Rainline. Siren Assault, and a close up behind them.
Okay, Rich, what do you think of this? The Neville Parnham show continues. Son Brad gets Gold Flakes home over Rainline, and Siren Assault no luck again.
Easy to say now, but it did look over the odds. Last start, it had a real bustle there for the lead after dwelling at the start and got attacked. And luckily for it yesterday, driving through on the inside, but it got some cover and was able to sit just off them on the inside in third place with that cover. And I think it sort of made the difference and got up on the inside and has responded well up the straight. Rainline was excellent, finishing strongly. Siren Assault had its chance from 1 out, 2 back position. Arduet ran pretty well. It was sort of caught out there a little bit, didn't have too many favours at 150 to 1. But the horse I really like out of this race, Michael, was Chest Out Swagger. Yep. Real eye-catcher, really running home strongly late. Off its trials, they were very quiet trials, both of them. Even the 400-metre trial where Jared rode the horse, it was just tucked in behind them and he didn't ask it for much, and the same in its second trial. So I think in terms of horses to follow out of the race, certainly Chest Out Swagger was one of them.
Yeah, drew out, jumped from barrier 13 of 13, settled last, ran home in the fastest splits, making the most ground down the middle part of the track, which I'm not convinced was the place to be, especially early in the day. The winner sat leaders back, got along the fence. Rainline was probably about 1 out, 3 back, but then switched towards the fence and was in that second lane and finished off really strongly. Siren Assault had every chance, really, 1 out, 2 back, and loomed, but then the last 100 metres just tells me perhaps she's come to the end of her preparation, because she was in front of Rainline passing the 100 metre mark, and then Rainline just really knuckled down and was much stronger that last 100 metres and ended up beating her home by more than half a length. So I think Rainline's a nice filly that we can be following moving forward, a beautiful type of a horse as well, but Siren Assault, perhaps her preparations come to an end, and she's had a pretty good one, a Jim Crack Stakes winner.
Yeah, and although she looked a class runner, it was hard for a big punter to really hoe in with a big investment on a horse coming off the Karakana.
Yeah, 7-day turnaround. It was all probably a bit too much, but she didn't run poorly. But, she's probably done her job this time in.
Okay, and the race number 2, the Tab Touch West Speed Platinum Handicap over the 1,000 metres.
Smoky Mountain forced to cover additional ground. Go Grommet. In the middle is Kripolenko. Star Power's got a back to follow coming to the turn, and then Platinum Class. And a clear last is Bred to Flirt on the point of the turn. Just So Sassy. About a half to 3/4 on the outside to City Angel, who headed it very quickly. Kripolenko giving chase, followed by Go Grommet, Star Power. But it's City Angel who draws away from them. 120 to go. City Angel out by more than 2. Kripolenko, Star Power, Platinum Class and Bred to Flirt, but City Angel makes it a winning return. City Angel beat Kripolenko. Bred to Flirt got right up on the rails for third from Star Power, and then Platinum Class.
Here's Maddie Derrick after the win.
Trials are trials and races are races, and that's probably the perfect example of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, she trialled with the earmuffs on because we just wanted to give her a soft trial, but I wasn't expecting her to go that good first up. I thought she'd need the run. But once she settled nicely outside the leader, I thought she'd have enough left at the end.
Top of the home straight, that leader wasn't going to take you much further, so you basically had to go, now's the time.
Yeah, that's it. I just held her together and let her cruise up under her own steam. But once I went for her, she really found. I was quite impressed with that run.
Well, she wanted to roll back to the fence too, had to pull the whip through to the left.
Yeah, she can. She does have the tendency to lay in. I knew that going into today, so I was prepared. But I think she's learnt to win now, and I wouldn't be surprised if those are the only races she wins.
Okay, there's Maddie Derrick there talking about the winner, City Angel. What do you think of it, Michael?
Yeah, strong win. The way she let down at the 200 metre mark surprised me, and it sounds like it surprised Maddie a little bit too. She's probably a better horse when she finds the rail, but with the Casey horse Just So Sassy drawn to her inside, found the rail, so she had to sit outside leader, but rolled into the fence, which I've said a couple of times I thought was the place to be the first half of the card. But yeah, she really extended away late, and she looks in for a good campaign. It's interesting when you see a 14-start Class 1 horse, they win their next start, then they come back and they win their next one after that as well, so perhaps a bit of confidence there.
Yeah, amazingly, she's never started beyond the 1,000. Every run has been over 1,000 metres, and she had a real tendency early in her career, even when Paul Harvey was riding her, to lay in, and a couple of times she laid in really badly. But the run that really caught my eye during her initial career and a couple of campaigns in was when she sat 3 wide, no cover, and got beaten by Bonnie Ladd. It just showed she's got that tenacity and a little bit of strength over 1,000 metres. I'm not saying anything beyond, although she once trialled over 1,100 on a heavy track at Lark Hill and won quite impressively. So that all goes well for the Belmont season maybe when she touches soft ground.
Yep. The second horse, Kripolenko, looked better suited, dropping back to 1,000 metres after stepping up to 12 for the first time last start. Finished off well, and Bred to Flirt flashed late again, closer towards the rail, made inside runs from back in the field, ran home in 33.89. I think was the only horse to break 34 last 600, but that's Bred to Flirt, always some beyond me next start type of runs, and I probably won't be falling into that trap again.
Well, his first 2 runs were actually pretty good. And he ran 5th at Pinjarra first up, and got held up and ran home, and then you could forget his next run where he had to drag back from the draw and was a mile away, and basically Brad didn't really touch him over that final furlong. So it wasn't too much of a surprise to see him run home strongly from the back, but I agree he's pretty tricky to find, and he's going to need the breaks to win one, but he could pinch one maybe. Yeah,
this is her grade though, where she should be able to certainly be consistent at least. Go Grommet was really well backed yesterday and had no luck, 3 wide, no cover. Ended up being beaten 5 lengths, but with a more economical run in transit can be an improver next time out.
How did it look in the yard? Because it went in without a trial, and Tiana had said it was working really well behind the scenes.
Yeah, he's always a bit of a lather and a mess. Bred to Flirt. Go Grommet. He's doesn't probably parade the best, quite a nervous type of a horse, beautiful looking type, and looked really well yesterday, but he's not the sort of horse you can be picking from the yard on his behaviour.
It was interesting just watching the late drifts, Rich, after your report. I'm not saying they were reacting to your report, but obviously...
They probably would be, Mark.
Well, they could have been, Michael, but I'm not saying for sure. I'm assuming here, which is very dangerous, but... You'd reported that the horse was fizzy and, was like that.
That's him.
And there was a really noticeable late drift on him. So, obviously, you've got a legion of listeners out there.
I think he was map-related as well because he always looked likely to endure a tough run from that gate.
And what about City Place, the old stallion? It was Yarradale stallion. Ronnie Sayers bought him across Stormcat from the US and... I know they do make good broodmares, so she'll probably find a spot at stud at some stage and produce a good winner or two, City Angel.
Yeah, well, she's been consistent. She's finished in the top 3 at, 11 of her 16 starts.
We're going to race number 3, which is the Glenroy Chaff Handicap. This was over 1,000 metres.
Half clear. Storm Commander covering additional ground. Piker's working on Brave Strike. She's been right there in the firing line. Catch the Red Eye down on the inside, followed by Madam Kisses. Hang Glider still well back. The favourite Barney's World, Stone Motherless. Avoidance, the baldy face galloper leads the way. Pike goes to work on Brave Strike. Storm Commander on the outside, but Brave Strike takes the lead, and punters have got this absolutely spot on. Brave Strike beat home Avoidance. Storm Commander, Hang Glider got through late. Catch the Red Eye, followed by Madam Kiss.
Oh, Cobby was up and about this one, wasn't he? He didn't like the drift on Barney's World. I think he might have tipped that, did he? Brave Strike was the one they backed. But good luck there to Simon Miller, William Pike with the Brave Smash. Betting Avoidance, which showed a good return to form in a front-running role. Storm Commander and Hang Glider back in 4th, as you heard.
Yeah, always been a nice horse, Brave Strike. Came through the 2-year-olds and trialled like a bomb going into the gym crack and was unlucky in that race for Holly Watson. And then Holly rode the horse in the Caracatta and thought ran really well in the Caracatta, was brave, finishing 4th. Showed tenacity over the final furlong in that race. Only got beaten 3/4 by Ripcord in the Caracatta. Then came out and ran well in the Sires over the 1400, finishing gamely behind Super Smink, who did win that race pretty comfortably. Spelled came back and, although it was unplaced all throughout its next campaign leading into this one, there were some good runs. The Belgravia was a really good effort, beaten 2.5, was unlucky in the Champion Fillies, although a little bit flat on the day. And then came out and ran a really good race in the Listeer Classic, and that was behind Investment Strategy, Generosity and Storm Chase, and was hitting the line well. And then its final run was basically, I think, on the way out. It was its last run in its last campaign when it finished 4th behind Storm Chaser and hit the line okay on that occasion, but has come back really well. That was a tough effort. I thought Michael it did a fair bit of bullocking work and fought on really well.
Yeah, strong effort over what I think is an unsuitable distance as well. It got out to a mile last preparation. I think that was the query yesterday, over 1,000 metres. But I do feel this race was a real tempo-related race. Avoidance got things really cheaply in front. Brave Strike outside leader. Storm Commander was 3 deep, no cover over the top of them, stuck on for 3rd. They virtually finished in settling position in this race. So I think Brave Strike was suited, but the money was really, really strong late. I think it was about $5 into $3.50. So it was the only horse they wanted to be on, whereas Barney's World was $1.90 out to $2.50. So they certainly knew, and Barney's World stepped slow and just never really looked in contention, was being scrubbed up and ran a distant last, but did pull up with Vet's excuses afterwards. Avoidance, as I mentioned, it got things nicely in front. There was no other leader in this race whatsoever. Catch the Red Eye has settled prominently before, but it did look a race that Avoidance would be able to roll forward in. And
different horse when it finds
different horse when he's in when he finds the rail. Storm Commander was a tough effort, and I really liked the run of Hang Glider. Did a couple of things wrong in running. Missed the kick a little bit, was keen in the run, but finished off quite well considering the way this race was run. 33.53 the last 600. I thought that was a pretty good return over 1,000 metres.
Okay, now NBA results, just bring you up to date. That third game, Boston 104 have beaten the Heat 84. One game to go. Tip-off is about 4 minutes' time. Denver are playing the Lakers away, and the Nuggets are $1.62. Lakers are $2.33. So get your bets on there in the NBA.
Just a quick one with Madam Kisses in that race, race number 3 before we move on.
Yep.
It was very stop-start for it, and I don't think it really suited the horse. So from a better draw next start, getting a soft trip, don't rule it out.
Okay, we go now to race number 4, the Morley Growers Market Handicap over the 1,200 metres.
And then 2 lengths Amber Glide. 400 left to run though, and it's Ice Picnic being ridden along, coming into the turn. Can't quite break the tag of Street Parade for the moment. Then 2 lengths Multinational, No Change. Further back Triple J, Malcar Pindari, Shan the Persuader. On the outside, Street Parade goes to Ice Picnic. Now Triple J starts to hit overdrive outside of No Change. On the outside, Triple J for Pike goes up, grabs the lead for No Change, Multinational. No Malcar Pindari, and Triple J too good. Triple J, Pike goes race to race, beat either No Change or Multinational. Amber Glide.
Yeah, the winning run, as you said, for Oakland Park continues here. Triple J for Dan and Ben Pearce. William Pike, I think he's won 4 times on the horse, is that right?
Yeah, all 4 of the horses' wins have been with Pikey aboard. Yesterday did look a better race. Had dropped 6 kilos from his previous run, but was bumping into a really nice mare in Malcar Pindari, who no doubt was the horse to beat. But I guess if there was to be a query with Malcar Pindari, it was potentially staying at 1,200 metres second up after such a dynamite return first up, and whether or not that was just a little bit flat yesterday from her, because she did race up to 1,500 metres when last in work. But to Triple J's credit, settled in front of her and gave her a really strong kick down that middle part of the track, and was the first horse to do that in a race yesterday. And I think he's a really progressive type that can hopefully progress through his grades.
Yeah, might have got out to a price just before the home turn too, Triple J, because it got shuffled back to a tricky position, probably lost, length to a length and a half at a very key point in the race. And for Pike to get that horse going again, I thought it was a really good ride.
Yeah, Multinational just doesn't really handle the bend there at Ascot, unfortunately.
Yeah, got in the way a little bit, and Triple J's come down the outside with a powerful burst to get up. No Change had trialled really well, actually, coming into this race. So it wasn't too much of a surprise to see it actually run really well first up. It was interesting in that trial at Belmont when it finished third behind Lord Lala, Legacy of Tara. Emerald Trader finished alongside No Change, ran really well yesterday. It was warming up late to finish a place. And Brave Strike, it ran 5th in that trial. It came out and won yesterday.
Yep. So it's been a hot form reference.
Even though Lord Lala failed, but it sat outside the leader and packed it in.
That was Multinational's first placing, I think, at Ascot from about 6 starts. So I think that just the way he sort of shifted ground a little bit around the turn suggests the reason probably why Neville Parnham's always been of the opinion that he's not an Ascot horse, but coming into Belmont season, I think he'll be a follow. He's a lovely horse, Multinational. I certainly think there's more wins in him. And I really like the return of Amber Glide.
Sensational.
Yeah, she was super. First up, 1,200 metres. She got out to a mile last preparation when finishing 3rd in the Starstruck, and she's now still eligible for these ratings races, so I think she's a big follow, certainly coming into Belmont season as well, where she was a second-up winner over 1,400 metres last prep.
Exactly. That came off the run where she ran last first up, preparation, although was wide out and hitting the line pretty well. Wasn't given much chance.
Just looked too sharp for her, whereas yesterday was a super run.
And a better run. So you think she'll go very close to winning second up, 1,400 metres.
Yeah, this should be a good race. Malcar Pindari.
Okay.
I would expect to go to, if everything's okay, I would expect to go to 1,400 metres next start, and she already wears blinkers, but I just think second up syndrome, staying at the sprint trip for a mare that got out to 1,500, I'm willing to see her at 1,400 metres next start, and I think she'll be much better suited.
Question for you, Rich.
Yeah.
This Triple J now has 12 starts, 4, 3 and 1. Can he sneak a little stakes race or a sort of featured country race somewhere along the track, and maybe a Hannon's or something like that, or he's just a ratings horse?
No, I think potentially he could. I think he showed yesterday that he can overcome a bit of adversity, but he's always been a horse with great promise. Remember that day that he won by 4... under a handbrake.
His maiden, I think, maybe, or second, or Class 1,
Yeah, that's right. And it was a dazzling win. It was actually Class 3 at Bunbury when it beat Dazzling Dane. It was just being eased right down on the line, and then came to town and started favourite and got beaten, but that was on a soft 7. But after that, he's really been tremendous, because he's always been up there bullocking on speed quite often, or leading, in fact, early on in his career. But he seems to have lost that initial first 200-metre burn, and he's just sitting off them now. And maybe the key is for him not to carry really big weights as well. Like he got in very nicely yesterday.
And he's an interesting horse in the fact that Neville Duncan has always been firmly of the opinion that he's a 1,400 to 1,600 metre horse, but he has over-raced badly through the early starts of his career, and he was settling on speed, whereas this time he appears to have matured. He's settling really well over 1,200 metres and finishing off. So now all of a sudden he does look like a 1,400 metre horse, and the stable certainly thinks that's when we'll see the best of him.
By Street Boss, so they'll only get better as he gets older. Now, one here from Mario. He wants to know what's going on with Bustling. Is he going to Hong Kong?
Yeah, not sure. That's another decision that the connections would have to make.
So obviously there's offers out there, is there?
Apparently, yeah. I'm not sure of the exact information, but apparently there's whispers of potential sale, and hopefully we get to see him again, though, in the Size Produce Stakes next Saturday.
How exciting is he? So, as you said, Size Produce Stakes next Saturday.
Do you know he ran the fastest last 200 of the race in the Karrakatta Plate after doing all that work? It's unbelievable. Serious horse.
Sensational win. Gee, be a pretty good Hong Kong horse because, you know,
that
on
style
speed.
of runner, yeah, zooming around Happy Valley and Sha Tin. And talking about Hong Kong, they've got their big Champions Day up there today, the mile and the 2,000 metres, the Queen Elizabeth. So make sure you bet into those world pools for bigger results. Right, better get to race number 5, then we'll take a break. This was a PKF Perth handicap over the 1,600 metres.
The inside and looking for a bit of daylight, just angling off heels, but has Cool Memory outside of it. Right behind those, next of all on the outside is Right to Silence. Into the straight though, Fly with Caution. In front, Cool Memory on the outside. The challenger Bondi Plunge behind them, trying to build. Cool Memory goes up to Fly with Caution. Fly with Caution, Cool Memory having a great 2-horse war behind them. Bondi Plunge comes late. Fly with Caution beats off Cool Memory. Rallies strongly. Fly with Caution under the 62 strong. Fly with Caution from Cool Memory. Bondi Plunge on the outside, third home from New
good win under the big weight, Rich, for Stevie Parnham and Robert Whitten. Fly with Caution.
Yeah, terrific effort. Got into a dominant position outside the leader. Can sit close to the speed or sit back 4th or 5th and do the job. So he's got some versatility and toughed it out really well. It was really on speed, this race, though, and these first 3 over the line sat 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Cool Memory had every chance there and battled on hard over the final stages. And Bondi Plunge did his thing. He was up running 3rd and 4th and plugged home gamely over the final stages. New Music got held up a little bit there until about the 150 and then got through nearer the inside. So the jury's out on the performance. It wasn't too bad, I guess. I'm prepared to forgive Michael. I'm not sure if you are on patrol. He was a horse to follow out of the show a few weeks ago, and he just had horses laying in, like Warrelly Lass was on top of him over the final 200 metres. He took a while to get going up the straight anyway, in the first part of the straight, and then he had horses around him. And I just don't know if he was quite at the races yesterday with that lack of room.
Yeah, he's a horse that I'm pretty sure the camp have always had the opinion that he needs to be in clear galloping room, and he drew barrier 2 yesterday. He was always going to need luck from there. I think he's much more effective on the outside of horses and being in clear air. But just on this win, I actually think this is a serious win from Fly with Caution. I've been slow on the uptake with this horse. The progression's been really, really promising. Yesterday was up 4 kilos, up to 1,600 metres for the first time, breezed. This is when the sou'westers started to come in as well. So we were watching the flags during in run, and I think I actually said to Lockie halfway through the race, well, you can lay this favourite that's outside leader, and just continued to kick and was really, really strong, punching into that breeze under the 60 kilos. So I'm pretty sure Robert Whitten said after the race he might be going for a break now. I stand to be corrected on that. But, I think he's a stakes horse in the making. He looks really, really talented. Cool Memory was a nice run as well. Bondi Plunge was down on the fence, which again seemed to be the place to be. And I liked the effort of New Music, just had nowhere to go really, was strung up behind horses. And I do think there's a win in her this preparation, but she has had pretty bad luck her last couple of starts, so she's becoming a little bit tricky to follow.
Okay, all right. Anything else, Rich?
pretty much covered that race, I think, but there could be a good win for Fly with Caution on that performance with 60 kilos.
Okay, time for a break. Halfway stage of Racing Rewind.
You are listening to Racing Rewind on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
And Real Danger drew a length and a half to Baby Paris behind the Miss Esprit. He sits, he waits, he bides his time with Laced Up Heels, and Sapphire Street's around the outside of her. And then further back is Vampy at play at the 250. Real Danger over Baby Paris. Now Laced Up Heels joins in. Sapphire Street coming down the outside though. It's Sapphire Street coming at Laced Up Heels. Grabs the lead now, Sapphire Street, and does better than Laced Up Heels. Sapphire Street beat Laced Up Heels. Tight for third, Baby Paris, or the fast finishing Madame Magic over on the inside of the...
Yeah, upset win there in the Sheila Gwynne Classic to Sapphire Street, trained by Dan Morton, ridden by Luke Campbell, who joins us here on Racing Rewind. A very good morning, Luke.
Good morning, guys. Thank you for having me on again. How you going?
Really well, Luke. That was a top win by Sapphire Street. You just sat back and waited, and you're able to sort of get up onto the hindquarters of Laced Up Heels, who sort of half took you into it on the corner and finished really well.
Yeah, look, it was a classy win by the filly up against the mares yesterday. Look, it was good that she had only 52.5 kilos on all the other horses. It was a lightweight for her, and she was good enough to get the job done yesterday, and it was a good win.
Well done, Luke. It sounds like the ride was a deliberate tactic going into the race, hearing BJ Ryan yesterday speak after the race.
Yeah, look, we spoke pre-race and spoke a couple of days before as well. With the 52.5 kilos and the way she can run her last 600, I was always going to put her into the race a bit early, and my plan was always to follow Laced Up Heels, and so, yeah, it just worked out perfectly, and I was able to put her into the race at the right time and got her through her gears, and when she balanced up, she really let rip for me, and it was a really good win. Yeah,
there's not much of her, is there? She's quite a small filly, but she has a super turn of foot.
Yeah, she is a very small filly. I have ridden her a couple of preps ago, and but then when I got on her yesterday, I thought, geez, she is actually very small. She's got quite a small neck, and she's small in stature, but if she can let down like that, it's not holding her back, so good on her. Yeah.
And what about Multinational yesterday? It looks like he's a horse who'll really appreciate getting back to Belmont just with that turn. Yeah,
definitely. He sort of crabs around the Ascot corner a little bit. It's probably just a little bit tight for him there, but when he gets back to Belmont, where the corner's a bit more open and the track's a bit more open, he will appreciate that. And look, his run yesterday was enormous. I was really happy with the way he went, and so was the boss. So when he gets back to Belmont, I'm sure he'll have a few more wins in store.
Really interested in your thoughts on Patrol. We spoke about it a few minutes ago, about the fact that the horse probably needs a bit of clear running, and things didn't quite work out for you from back in the field yesterday.
Yeah, look, barrier 2, I had barrier 2 yesterday. It's probably not an ideal barrier for him. As you guys mentioned just before, he does want some clear running. His ideal sort of run would just be being in the 3 deep line at Ascot here and sort of sweeping around them. That's how he went good last start when Matty Derrick rode him. But look, I'm a bit query whether he gets the mile or not, to be honest. I reckon he's a better 1,400 metre horse, and if he can go back to 1,400 and sort of draw a bit of a wider barrier and be 3 deep with cover, I think he'd be running a lot better race than what he ran yesterday.
You've had a good association with Mood Swings this preparation, ran 11th in the Joey last Saturday. Is he pushing on this preparation, do you know?
Yes, I had a chat to George Dupre after the run last Saturday, and he said, I think we're going to have a look at the Northern Stakes, Northern Sprint, that sort of, those 1,300 metre sort of races.
Yep.
I think they're going to be better for him.
Yep.
I think he's getting a bit older and he's not as sharp as what he used to be. So he's not a 1,200 metre horse anymore. I think 1,300, 1,400, 1,500 he's going now, where they're not as sharp as these 1,200 metre sprinters. But yeah, we saw that in the Grandstand Cup.
Just having a look at the Premiership, 17 Metro wins this season, so you're 8th in WA after a bit of a steady start with suspensions and injury and the like. You're hitting your straps now. You're happy with the way you're going?
Yeah, definitely happy with the way I'm going. Obviously, over the last week, I think I've ridden 5 winners through the week or something, so I have had a very good week. But I just have to continue the form, keep working hard, and keep riding winners, because that's how you do good.
Well, he had a double during the week, and you were able to win with El Patron. Did he feel a little bit different with the blinkers on?
He did, yeah. He was really he was really awake during the week when I rode him. Because I've ridden him before, and he's normally a real quiet sort of animal going to the barriers and that. But the other day, he really grabbed hold of the bridle coming out of the mounting yard, and I thought to myself, even before we got in the barriers, and then I thought, geez, he's on today. So I was really proud of his effort. It was good to get a win on him, and also good to get a winner for Simon.
Might need to have a statue made for him getting El Patron over the line. It's a fair effort.
Yeah. Well, I think he was overdue for another winner, to be honest. I think he has a few more wins in store as well. I don't think he's hopeless.
Luke, you got a fan on the text line, Greg L. He's a big fan of yours, and he sends out all the best to you. So continue to ride winners for our good mate Greg L listening in, and it's good to see you finally getting that run at them and booting the winners home. Thanks for coming on Racing Rewind this morning.
Really appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thanks,
on.
Luke.
There is Luke Campbell. Geez, he talks a lot more mature than his years, that is for sure, his age, and he obviously does a lot of form. You can tell that, Rich.
Yeah, no, he's a brilliant operator. You've got to love Luke, and he rode the perfect race yesterday. Just going through the beaten division, laced up heels.
Or we'll go beaten jockeys first.
Troy Turner, Baby Paris.
Yeah, she ran a good race again.
Stephen Parnham, Vampire Play.
She ran a really good race today. We were hoping to get some black type placing. That was why she was here. And only narrowly missed out, so her effort was really good. I think dropping back in grade, she should be hard to beat next time.
Madame Magic, Lucy Fiore.
Yeah, really good run, just probably a little bit held up on the corner and just took a while to get into the straight and get her moving, but ran through the line really well.
Chris Parnham, Laced Up Heels.
He travelled nicely throughout. The winner was just too good on the day with the 4 kilo swing.
Jason Whiting, Mrs. Spree.
Yeah, she ran a good honest race against that company.
Brad Putnam, Real Danger.
Look, she ran a reasonable race, but probably just had that little bit too much pressure on me when Baby Paris came around, and just probably had me rolling for a bit too far. But all in all, it was a good run.
Well, there's the beaten jockeys. Thanks to Julio Sadarelli there. Right, let's get into it.
Okay. Well, laced up heels, it was interesting because Chris might have had the option there to go leaders back behind Real Danger, but I think the theory was from Luke Fernie was to try and ride a little bit conservatively, knowing that, if she got used up, maybe she wouldn't finish it off quite as well over the 1,400 metres with the likes of Baby Paris and Real Danger up front. So in the end, laced up heels, and also the fact that Baby Paris was going to be caught 3 wide if Chris stayed off the fence. In the end, that probably didn't matter that much because Baby Paris was always going to press on anyway outside the leader. So she ended up probably a little bit further back than I actually anticipated. She had a chance, obviously, up the straight when she loomed up, and Sapphire Street was able to get over the top. But the effort was still pretty good. And I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the way that Laced Up Heels was ridden, Michael, just before we go into the other runners.
Yeah, I think the race changed complexion. I'm sure Chris would have preferred to be 1 out, 1 back, and it looked like Baby Paris was going to be caught 3 deep, and he was 1-1. And then when Troy elected to stride forward with Baby Paris and got to the breeze, that all of a sudden put Laced Up Heels 1-2, following who was probably the outsider of the race or second outsider of the race in Mrs. Spree. Yeah. So he probably would have been not that happy, all things considered, in the run, but he would have preferred to be following a Baby Paris or one of those probably in the run. But look, she was still a good effort off the 7 days. Sapphire Street had her back, and I think the 4 kilos, as Chris rightly summed up in the beaten jockeys, is probably the difference in the end. Sapphire Street's got a booming turn of foot on her with the flyweight. She was just too sharp. Madame Magic was a really good run, still dead last at around the 150-metre mark, and then just sprouted wings the last 100 metres. That's a great result for her. She's got a really good family behind her, so it's a valuable result.
Her run in the Abrolhos was amazing.
Yeah,
but flashed home. At
now being a black type filly or black type mare, that's a big result for her page. Baby Paris has had to do too much work. 1,400 metres is always at her limit, and from the gate, caught wide early, strode forward to the breeze in the end, and this is where that sou'wester was in play, so she just did too much work. I thought it was still a gallant enough effort to be beaten less than a length, and the others probably had their chance.
Could you see her winning over 1,400 metres again? She did win the Jungle Dawn leading and just holding on.
Got things soft from memory. With conditions to suit, typically, I think yesterday was a bit of an anomaly with the way the track was probably playing at Ascot at the latter part of the day with the sou'wester in. But yeah, I certainly think she can win over 1,400 metres again. She was beaten less than a length after doing a fair bit of work. So with a softer run, she goes a lot closer.
Yeah, Real Danger's interesting because when Peters had Real Danger with Adam Durant, they tested her out over further, and so. But I think now that since Dan's had Real Danger, she's really been sprinting in fantastic style. Of course, won the Scenic Blast and the Cyril Flower, was placed in the Summer Scorcher and the Miss Andretti, and just maybe, because she's been trained more of a sprinter, the 1,400, maybe just saw her out a little bit yesterday.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be giving up on Mrs. Spree yesterday either. She's a nice horse that's been racing probably out of her weight division and only beaten a couple of lengths behind horses like Laced Up Heels. Baby Paris is good effort with her rating.
Okay, on to race number 7, the Bisley Workwear Handicap over the 1,400.
Okay, in front for Harvey, coming up to the turn from Dutch Paw, who's rolled off the rail. Kicker Goldstone looking for that unoccupied spot near the fence, and around them Enchanting Sounds about to let rip. Emerald Trader trying to bullock into the clear, but Harvey's off and gone at the 200 mark with Fast Flicker. Fast Flicker races 3.5 in front of Enchanting Sound. Back behind them, Fleur Delacour, Emerald Trader. It's all Fast Flicker. If you're on board, just get into the tote queue and collect Fast Flicker and a canter. Won by 2.5 Enchanting Sound. Emerald Trader
it's better
third.
And better, Fast Flicker. Tell us about this one, Rich.
Yeah, well, some of my favourite trainers have the TT going, Tony Triscari and Trevor Tasker, the fireman in Kalgoorlie. Fast Flicker, just a good win. Paul Harvey pressed on, and he felt as though had he sort of been staying outside the leader there, the horse might have just started to reef and pull a little bit, so he decided to just keep moving on and go to the front, and looked like had done a bit and might be vulnerable before the corner, but no siree, it just bounded away at the top of the straight and gave them windburn, put them away. Enchanting Sound ran really well again, a horse who can handle up to 1,600 metres. Enchanting Sound, despite having won over lesser distances. Emerald Trader, who trialled well, and it was good to see the horse jump cleanly yesterday, although it was second and third last early on. The clean jump made a difference, and it travelled very strongly. You don't want to be underneath Emerald Trader in the run, Michael. I don't know if you noticed, but just took Fleur Delacour out naturally.
Big horse.
3 and 4 deep, and there was nothing Willie Pike could do about that with Jason coming away from the inside. And I thought Emerald Trader was really good, actually. That final 100, it was really warming up strongly, and there's going to be a win very shortly. Swin Through's an interesting run. I might appreciate Belmont with a freshen up. If this horse has, say, 3 or 4 weeks off and comes back to 1,000 or 1,200, could see it going a lot better. I'm not sure if these distances, the 16 last start, 14 now, are really suiting it.
Yeah, he seems to be caught between grades and caught between distances at the moment. He was 1,200 up to a mile a couple of starts ago, back to 1,400 metres yesterday. I just think he's probably a little bit out of form, but just on Fast Flicker, a serious win, just how easy that she did it and absorbed the pressure, punted forward and just kicked again. Tony Triscari going at 41% this season. Wow. Going to be the best in the country.
Yeah.
Have to be.
Absolutely unbelievable. 34 starters for 14 winners. And Scott Embry rightly mentions regularly previewing his runners that he has the best profit on turnover, not in WA, but any trainer in the country, Tony Triscari. So he's just doing super things at the moment. Enchanting Sound's been racing well all preparation, good effort. Emerald Trader, I agree, is a follow. He can be hit and miss out of the machine and is a bit of a heart in your mouth type of horse when you back him, but he'll appreciate getting back to Belmont, and the rest of the field we're probably soundly beaten.
He's got a couple of progressive types there. Fast Flicker's capable of handling the Mares Classics over the summer, I think. Yep. Spring, summer, and Profit Pocket's been impressing me with those last 2 wins, Michael.
Yeah, and was it Premium Choice? Premium Girl?
Premium Choice, yeah.
Premium Girl as well. He's got a few, all wear the same colours and they all just win.
Yep. Greg L sent one in. The Pontiff, 1 ride for 1 win. Just brilliant. Wish he would ride more. We go to race number 8, the National Pump and Energy Handicap over the 1,200.
And still plays with fire, whips them all in. Inside the 350 and cross statement, given its head by Derek, drew a length and a half on Lord Lala. Beccalotti into open air now, starts to run on well down the outside. Here's Rockin' Rupert launching. Noski goes to work. Beccalotti reaches the lead. Kalima's getting right through, and Rockin' Rupert the deepest of them. Rockin' Rupert, Kalima scything through the centre, grabbed the lead, and Kalima too good for Rockin' Rupert. Beccalotti got a little weary late in the race, battling on first law, plays with fire from the tail of the field, running on.
We've got a text in about this Star Spangled Banner filly. How good is she, Michael, and how far can she go?
Serious turn of foot. She's got the ability and the turn of foot of a stakes horse for sure. I'm just cautious to see how she goes second and third up. That's what I want to see from her this preparation, because she's now 3 from 3 first up, but her second up run as a 2-year-old, she started $4 and ran 5th, and then last preparation she went from a Class 3 to a Burgess Queen Stakes, which was always going to be a bit of a jump, and she did finish behind Keshi Boom and Super Smink, but she ran 7th and then was turned out for a break. So perhaps immaturity or constitution's been her issue so far, but yesterday, if she didn't win that, she would have been a good thing beaten. How well she was travelling and when she was held up, and Darren McAuliffe was brimming with confidence pre-race. I asked him why the horse hadn't trialled, and he said that you don't have to when they're going this good. They won't be beating her. Mm-hmm. And he was spot on. Her acceleration that last 200 when she got clear was really impressive, and through the line she's actually pulling away from Rocking Rupert. So it was a big win, and hopefully she can have a consistent campaign and we can get a few runs into her this time in and see how good she is.
Yeah, she when she was unplaced at a final start, apparently she had problems on the float on the way back and had a couple of major issues which were quite serious, but she's clearly overcome them and come back in terrific order. Rockin' Rupert was a top run.
Yep. Trialled well, ran well.
Yeah, ran really well. I mean, if Lakdar had it over again, and in hindsight, it's a wonderful thing, but I think he did the right thing at the time by going to the outside, because the moving line actually didn't look to be going that well. Just at about the 500, and he would have spotted that with Lord Lala being niggled at and Beccalotti behind also being just pushed along a little bit. He probably felt the better option was to get to the outside and look that way. Had he stayed where he was, Kalima potentially might not have got out, although it's a big horse and maybe it would have just burst its way out. But Rockin' Rupert would have followed up behind Beccalotti, and that run actually did eventually come. It came for Kalima. Rockin' Rupert wasn't there. It had gone 4 and 5 wide around the turn and wobbled a bit on the bend as well. So had it stayed where it was, I think Rockin' Rupert might have actually won that race, and Kalima might have been unlucky in behind. So that was interesting.
Yeah, Clint Johnson and Porter, great ride there. Beccalotti's knocking on the door for a win, and I liked the run of Plays with Fire. Was back last, nowhere to go, had to bide his time. William Pike and hit the line well. Look for her over 1,400 metres this preparation.
Okay, I'll whiz through the last. The Peters Investments handicap over the 1,600.
The favourite Dessiné last of all recalled as they went to the 400 mark, and Lord Gannicus comes into the turn hard from Arnie's boy LA to the outside. A further then 2 lengths Strike now, who cut the corner, and so wore back with it. Dessiné still 4 or 5 lengths off running on, but LA reaches the lead. LA and now Zafira down the outside, but it's LA from Lord Gannicus, Arnie's boy. LA's home in the last. LA takes out the last of the day, won it from Arnie's boy. I'd say a nose, Lord Gannicus and Zafira.
Yeah, that's the way they finished, Mac. It was Michael Lane winning the last race 2 weeks in a row with LA and Brad Parnham.
Yeah, of course, he won with the Boss Lady, who I think is in next Saturday, Michael. So look forward to seeing the Boss Lady. He's got so much talent. Michael did indicate that LA was pretty forward first up, coming up off the back of 2 trials. It ran over 1,400 first up, never easy, and really toughed it out well when finishing 4th just off the placings. It was a very good effort. So up to the 1,600 metres, no problem at all. Can handle that distance very well. And the key to the victory, Mike, might have been the fact that LA got the cover on Lord Gannicus and Arnie's boy, instead of having to maybe overdo it a bit leading or outside the leader.
Yeah, just had the perfect run, didn't he? Tucked in just behind, bit of cover. Sou'wester was swirling. Everything went really well. I left him out yesterday purely because of his track stats. 6 starts, duck eggs next to his name, but he beat that hoodoo yesterday. I like the way that Zafira's going back in 4th. I think she's been really good her first 2 runs back, and she has, or 3 of her 4 wins have come at Belmont. So I think that she's in for a win pretty soon, and outside of that, Designated was the disappointment. Vetted, actually, I'm not sure if he was vetted, but the rider advised that he raced in a flat manner.
Yeah, Pike gave him every chance there. Strike Now was a little disappointing. I know Jason Miller in his interview, I think on Friday morning, gave it a bit of a rough chance each way, but didn't really let down.
On Racing Rewind, it is time for the boys to look back and determine who are the black bookers, the ones to be on next start, the horses to follow.
A few for me out of yesterday's meeting. I think Zafira can be hard to beat going back to Belmont. Rocking Rupert's in for a good preparation. Triple J the same. And Amber Glide. So 4 for me. Triple J, Amber Glide, Rocking Rupert, Zafira.
Definitely agree with Amber Glide. Out of the 2-year-old race, I thought Chest Out Swagger was the one. Rainline should be winning as well shortly. And also out of race number 3, I thought Hang Glider was very good, which you mentioned as well. Michael ran home very nicely first up.
Down in Albany today, the Tab Touch, the road to the Jericho Cup WA qualifier over the 3,100 metres. Numbers 1, 7 and 13 have been scratched. Matty Derrick goes on to Sluice Box. And for your eyes is favourite here for Chris Parnham at $3.10. You looked at the race?
Sort of, but it's probably the hardest race of the year to be tipping, isn't it? 3,100 metre race, and a lot of them are racing outside the handicap. It's a bit of a raffle, but For Your Eyes is probably short enough. But I was by a Perth Cup winner in Fiorente, Chris Parnham going down to ride him, but good luck to the club. Always an interesting watch, this race.
Melbourne Cup winner.
Perth Cup.
Oh, sorry, what did I say? Perth.
Yeah.
Melbourne Cup winner, of course.
Yeah, he would have done okay in the Perth Cup, but... he's a tough stayer, and I think he'll handle the distance okay. The one I don't mind is Deadly and Fast. It's been finding the line well. I think the distance will suit, and out of all the horses in the deep south, I think Deadly and Fast is the one going really well.
It is a good 4 at the moment. A bit of rain forecast for down there in beautiful Albany, and at 19 degrees is the forecast high. So what have we got? The WA Size next week? Should be
Size Produce Stakes, it should be a good race. It'd be interesting to see whether any horses back up off yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if a horse like Rainline or perhaps even maybe a Chest Out Swagger might be able to. But
golf, even the winner Gold Flakes might go there.
Yeah,
possibly.
Thanks for coming in, Rich.
Blue Line Albany today, I like.
Blue
Race
Line?
3, number 1, yeah. It's been unlucky 2 starts and Chris jumps on.
Thanks, Soph. Thanks also to Brad Hardy.